So, welcome. You showed up for a reason, and if your business isn't flowing, it's not because you're lazy, it's because you're trying to do too much the hard way. And so, what we're going to do is simplify some things so that you can multiply, so you can grow your business. And if you've been grinding and it's not giving you what you deserve, if your business has turned into a job that you own, then you are definitely in the right place. So, who am I? For those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Dr. Donna Smith Bellinger. Sales is my natural language. I work with business owners and coaches, consultants, authors, people who are pretending to be sales managers, and sales is really not their forte. Under these little bullet points, I'm an award-winning coach. I've led record-breaking sales teams. I am a speaker. I am an author. I'm an adjunct. I speak across gender, generation, and geography. I've spent decades turning conversations into cash without compromising my values or my authenticity. One of the fun things I like to say is I am definitely an acquired taste. I own it. It's just the way it is. So from corporate boardrooms to entrepreneurial boot camps, I've coached professionals at every level from I've never sold anything before all the way up into the C-suite to help them to grow their income, their visibility, their credibility with confidence and clarity. However, full disclosure, my journey didn't start with privilege. I actually was a homeless teenage mom way back in the day. And I built my way up through grit, through strategy, and through service. I became a tech co-founder, a trusted corporate trainer, and now as I said, guide business owners and consultants to stop winging it. You know, I'm going to give you, like I tell my students when I'm in front of the collegiate audiences that I work with, I'm going to give you the stuff that's in between the pages. You know how to read the books and all of those things, but one of the things that's really missing in the books and the funnels and a lot of the other things is what do you do when you have a high ticket item to create a conversation that has that person not say, gee, I need to think about it, to have them say, okay, what's the next step? What's next? How do I work with you? And so I don't teach theory. I'll just say that right now. I teach what I know to be true. So today I want you to walk away with clarity. We're going to reposition your offer so you can do that in 15 minutes or less. And we're going to make your conversations easier and aligned. I don't, go through a whole bunch of motivation stuff. And as you can tell, I don't go through a whole bunch of my backstory. And, I started out as a child and that kind of a thing because you are not here to learn more about my backstory. You are investing this time to shift your business. And that's what we're going to focus on. And I'll tell you right now, this is not one of those funnel hacks or easy buttons or anything like that. This is just going to be a practical session to help you reboot your offer because frequently that's where the challenge lies between getting from pleased to meet you to thank you for your business. So let's start at the beginning of your sales process. Yes, you have a sales process. It's not working or it's not working the way you would like for it to. So let's just start at the beginning of it. My first book was called You Lost Me at Hello, Actionable Principles That Move You Beyond Networking. And I have spent decades turning conversations into cash. That's just what I do. Networking is usually the start of your sales process. And in one particular training that I did at a networking event, like pre-event, before we turned them loose onto the conference floor, I talked to them about how to turn that event into a cash machine for them. And I wanted them to do what I'm going to be challenging you to do today. I wanted them to be very clear on who their ideal client was, what was the result that they delivered. These are things that we frequently overlook. So at that particular event, I asked them this question. If I held up $100 bill and I say this $100 bill is going to go to the first person who can bring me somebody who's wearing blue suede shoes. I did that years and years and years ago. And I was literally coming back from speaking at an event in Wisconsin. I was at the Wisconsin Dells. And I saw this gentleman standing on the train platform. And I was like, oh my God, I have to take a picture of this. I just have to, and he's not the first one I've done that. But now mentally, if I'm in a room, I have a habit of looking for shoes. And I look for blue suede shoes. That's just kind of the way it rolls for me. So when you are doing your networking, do you have that mindset where you're talking about somebody, anybody, everybody? Who do you all know who? Or do you know specifically who it is that you want to meet in that room? And are you able to confidently communicate that to the people that you meet? Because it's not just, hi, I'm Donna. What do you do? Yeah, not so much. Okay, that's not going to make you memorable for me. But if I say, hi, I'm Donna, tell me who it is you want to meet in this room in case I run into them, I'm going to drag them right over to you. Now, that's something a little bit different, yeah? And then what are they going to do? They're going to ask you, well, who are you looking to meet? And you would say, I'm looking for somebody in blue suede shoes. In other words, you're going to be very, very specific on what you're looking for. Are you looking for decision makers? Are you looking for homeowners? Are you looking for people interested in investment property? Are you looking for funding opportunities for your nonprofit? Are you looking for business owners whose social media videos suck? Are you looking for people who are not making their money work as hard for them as they did when they had to earn it? Come on, let's be very, very specific, because if you don't do that, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. So, what you're feeling is not a flaw. Slow sales doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. You are not broken and you don't need fixing. What we need to do is readjust the way you are presenting yourself to your audience. And, one of the other things about those blue suede shoes is when you're looking for them, you don't see all the other noise. Once you have met who you needed to meet, then you can go back to the buffet. Then you can go back over to the bar. Then you can go and hang out with your besties and chit and chat. But you attended these events for a specific reason. Was there a particular person that you wanted to meet? Because that's very, very clear. And I'll tell you that when I walk into an event, I know who I want to meet. And if I'm just going to full disclosure again, if I walk into an event that has alcohol as a part of what they are doing, I stay for 2 rounds, because the people who show up first are the people who are focused. And by the 3rd round of alcohol, they're just socializing and hanging out. And I got a perfectly good man and cat at home, and I don't need to be there if it's not going to serve me. So what will serve you? That's one of the silent sales killers in what you're doing. So let's talk about the silent sales killers. Number 1, it's selling to everybody. Rest in peace. That's not going to work for you. It's just not. Somebody, anybody, everybody is nobody. It is nobody. The next thing is talking about your service. My company's been around for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. I don't care if they popped up yesterday. Can you solve my problem? Talk about the results that you deliver and back it up with case studies. with what I call bedtime stories. That's what's so important. And also have some urgency to it. You have the same 24 hours, 7 days a week as any billionaire on the planet. It's how you use them. So selling to everyone means that you don't have a target. Talking about what you do and not what they get is not going to make you memorable. And if you are not creating a sense of urgency, well, Donna, how in the world do you create a sense of urgency without sounding like you're begging? Again, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's like, oh, okay, so this is what your challenge is? Yeah, all right. How long have you had that challenge? 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, whatever. Okay, what have you already tried to alleviate that particular challenge? This, that, the other. Great. And how much have you invested to alleviate this problem? That is such a ding, ding, ding important question, because if all they're doing is reading books, attending videos, and getting the free stuff, then they haven't recognized how this challenge is affecting them at a different level. And if they're not willing to pay, they're not your ideal client. I'm just letting you know, they're just not your ideal client. Okay, all money is not good money, and do not kill yourself chasing people who are not for you. So let's talk about your sales conversation pyramid. Where is it stuck? So is it stuck in awareness? Do people just not know who you are? Is it stuck in interest? Are they really interested in solving this problem? How long have you had it? What have you done already to alleviate it? Trust. Trust is where you're going to give them those case studies, those bedtime stories. So I'll give you a couple of quick examples. My favorite one to give is my mechanical engineer, Katie. And Katie is a mechanical engineer in devices, medical devices. And she felt that she was being passed over. She was the one that they would call to train all of the people that hired over her. Many of us have been through that, right? You're not good enough to get the title and the check, but you're good enough to train that person. Yeah, I don't know where that logic comes from, but yeah. So what I would tell someone who says, you know what, I feel like I'm getting overlooked on my job. I'm not getting the at-bats. They're not recognizing my brilliance. I would tell them, I had a client who told me the same story. And what we discovered is she was not presenting her value properly. And that was basically an internal sales conversation. She wasn't trying to sell a service. She was trying to sell herself into her company. What we had to do was find out what the listening style was of the people that she was addressing. And as Katie and I worked together over the course of 18 months, we were able to, number one, move her from overlooked to project lead. We were able to build her confidence such that she was able to negotiate a new position for herself at her dream business in her dream location. And we were able to raise her compensation, her revenue, her paycheck by 30%. So now she is not overlooked. She's actually leading global projects. Is that the kind of result you're looking for? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. How did you do that? You don't tell them. That's your IP. That's your service. That's your secret sauce. What you say is, you know what? She was my client. And this is a highly personal, customized process. But she trusted me, and we were able to put these things together in, as you can see, a relatively short period of time. Is that something you'd like to dig deeper into? Okay, so then the next thing is urgency, because when we were doing that pre-qualification, we asked them, How long have you had this challenge? And then we pose the question, what is it costing you and what have you invested? So when you're talking to them, find out what their perception of the pain is associated with the challenge. Is it health? Is it business opportunity? Is it revenue? What is it? What do they feel that particular challenge is costing them? You have to be able to cover that and get them to state it so that you understand how their perception is of that particular challenge. Okay, that's so very, very important, because then it's like, oh, so in the last year you've missed 2 promotions. Oh, okay, so in the last year you've only onboarded 2 new clients, or you're speaking at 4 or 5 or 10 events a year, but you're only getting, maybe a 5% or 2% close rate. Okay, what do we need to do? How soon do you need to make that money? Because you all know, maybe you don't, but my most recent book is called Sales is Not About Wait and See. Do you want to get paid now or eventually? And that's the bottom line. Do they need to solve this problem now? Who is it affecting? Their career, their family, their health? Come on, make them tell the truth. Probe. And then again, give them another story if you need to, but wrap your solution in that and remind them. If we were able to resolve this challenge in the next 6 months or whatever your process cycle is, you got a 6-week program, you got a 6-month program, you got an ongoing thing, you're doing services, you're doing specific projects. If as a result of working with me for X, we could alleviate that, what would that mean to you? How would that affect you? Okay, that's what has to happen. And then, because that's the urgency, then you move them into action. And if you have not demonstrated the value of what you offer to them, they're not going to take action. You need to be watching body language, eye contact, all of those things. If you start to get what I call the bobblehead effect, and they're going, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Then you know it's time to kind of, not make your offer, but keep probing. Is this something you're ready to take action on? Don't go directly into a pitch, because if they're not ready to take action, you're setting yourself up for a disappointment, and you just move yourself from a professional to a peddler. They have to see you as the solution, the blessing, exactly what they've been looking for. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. One of the clients that I've worked with is Watch Me Learning Services. And this is a partnership. That was a little bit interesting because their original offer didn't focus on results. The conversations were complicated because they're academics. They're academics. They work out of Arizona State University, and they had a tendency to speak in the language that made them comfortable, as opposed to the comfort level of the person that they were addressing. Okay. They also didn't have a clear target. It was just way too broad. No clear outcomes. They made the buying decision difficult. We worked very, very diligently to do 2 things. One of the things that we did was I got the 2 of them on the same page as to who they needed to work with, who they provided the best result for. Because some of you who have heard me speak have heard me say before that my personal mission statement in my business is that the work that I do has to affect more than the bottom line, because it's not the transaction, it's the testimony. It's the testimony. It's not what I say about my business, it's what other people say. about my business. So as I got them to focus more on the results that they delivered, and we streamlined those complicated conversations, here's what they said about it a little bit later. And I'm still working with them right now. I love them to pieces, but here are their key insights. Donna helped my business partner and me lean into our individual strengths and recognize the habits that were quietly holding us back. Her insights challenged us in the best way, not just with strategy, but with mindset and behaviors that shape how people experience our brand. And again, when I'm working with you, I'm not pushing you into, oh, this is my 12-step program and you're going to be with me for 12 months. This is not about my business model. This is about creating success for you and your business. So that's the whole tone of this talk, and that's the whole tone of the way I work with my clients. Here's another one, Christian. So Christian is a client of mine. And when Christian and I had our first conversation, he and I are in B&I together, he was far too general. He was a financial strategist. And he felt that he was on a mission to help business owners and families. And it was just too broad. It was way too broad. He had way too many little Jenga pieces in his presentation. He also didn't have any sense of urgency, so it's like a nice to have, but nothing that I needed to do right this minute, because right this minute, I'm more worried about 1, 2, and 3 as opposed to A, B, and C. And the process, they couldn't visualize what the end goal was when they were working with him. As Christian and I had a conversation, we were able to reframe the way that he offers his services. One of the things that we focused on is the fact that he's a Marine Corps veteran. Yes, Simplified. And as well as being a financial strategist. So you know what we came up with? He was going to focus on veterans families, and active duty personnel. And we began to work on where he needed to network, where he needed to show up, what the conversation needed to be like. And he has since rebranded his business. And he is having these wonderful, wonderful successes because now it's not confusing. He knows how to pre-qualify and get people to really share with him what their vision is, as opposed to him telling them what you need to do. And he's giving them a pathway to their ideal outcome. Okay, so he says now that he specializes in using insurance as a powerful tool to create tax-free income, legacy protection, and financial flexibility. Yeah, that sounds a whole lot better to me than, some of the other jargon that goes with that industry. So I promised you a 15-minute revenue reset checklist, and we're going to talk about that right now. So here's the deal. These are the 4 points that you have to work into your offer. Is there a clear outcome? Are they clear on what they will gain? And I mean, you need to give it to them in a soundbite, not in War and Peace. Are you solving an urgent problem? Why do they need it now? Now, some of your prospects buy on a cycle. If you're working with the government, their fiscal year starts in October. So that means it wraps up in September, which means they're doing their planning in March. You got to know how to get them to take action in the time that's going to get you where you need them to be. If you have a prospect that has a seasonal offering, for instance, if you are doing videos, well, we need to start talking now about the videos we need to create for your Black Friday offer. Okay, and your holiday offer. And if you're working with businesses, what do they want to create for Q1? We are the experts. They're paying for our expertise. You know, people who are doing renovations on their homes and upgrades and things, you know what? The time for them to get those upgrades done is now if they want to be holiday ready. If they want to be holiday ready, they don't call the painter, like in October to say, I need you to come in and paint for Thanksgiving. Not a good one. They'll get whoever it doesn't have a full calendar, but they won't get the top of the line. They won't get the highest quality. You are the expert. Guide them. Let them see you as the solution to their challenges. Uncover challenges that perhaps they haven't even considered. That's what your case studies and your bedtime stories provide for them. Is it a friction-free call to action? Do you have clear next steps? The reason I wrote sales is not about wait and see, do you want to get paid now or eventually, is really simple. I would talk to some of the people that I engage with, and I would say, how did the meeting go? How did the call go? And they would say things like, well, I'm just waiting for them to. No, you're not. No, you're not. Your mortgage isn't going to wait. The groceries aren't going to wait. The kids aren't going to wait. You are not waiting for. No. Every single call, every single meeting needs to have a clearly defined next step. Okay, so it would be, Bernie, the next time you and I get together, we've already outlined what the challenge is for you, and you need to get your home holiday ready. So the next time we meet in a week or 2 weeks or 10 days, what we're going to do is go over the color palette. Okay, and the other things that you want to get done so that we can get you on our schedule, so that we don't have to decline the opportunity to support you. Have a clear call to action in everything that you do. With Carla and what she does, it's like, okay, we're talking about, these things that you want to apply for and this funding that's going to be available, but you know what? We need to take the time to pull your financials, to put these things together so that you will be able to answer the questions. So the next time we meet in 2 weeks, I want to have been in touch with your CPA. I want to get all of your financials together. And I also want to have all of the case studies on what you've done with previous funding that you received. Have a clear call to action. And then you always want to make it easy to say yes. And that's the reason that you typically are going to have a low, a medium, or a high offer. Because when you had the opportunity to have a conversation with that individual, what is the challenge? How long have you had it? What have you invested in? What is it costing you? Now you have a pretty good idea of their threshold for payment, but don't count their money for them. Don't lower your prices or offer them your lowest ball because you don't know what their resources are. You just know what they perhaps committed to previously, but you don't know what they have available. So, they may tell you, oh, well, I have a limited income right now and this and that and the other, but then you find out, well, I do have a 401k, I do have a trust, I do have this, I do have that. And yeah, I can make that investment happen. That's the reason you have to show them the value, the ROI in doing business with you. So if you have a low, a medium, and a high, the first offer that you will suggest, not going to give them pricing and stuff yet, but you would suggest is, well, if you want to accomplish X within 6 months, this is what we need to do. Are you willing to commit to that? Well, how much is it? The first thing is, are you willing to commit to it? Is that what you want to see happen? Because that's what you need to see, that they're willing to do the work, that they're willing to be committed. That's the most important thing. And then if you have to back down and go to your medium or your lower offer, fine, but make sure you clearly define what the results are that they will receive at those specific levels and remind them what they told you their big audacious goal was. I'm tired of my in-laws walking in and turning their eyes up at, the condition of the living room or the dining room or whatever. I would love to have a holiday dinner where everybody gushed about how great the home looked, even if they're going to say something snarky like it's about time. Doesn't matter. You got it done. Okay. And so it's so, so very important that that happens for you. So let's talk about you. And where is your offer? Based on the things that we've talked about over the last 25 minutes, tell me, where do you think your offer lands? Is your offer unclear? Is it just uninviting? Or do you think it's complicated? Do you feel that your offer is unclear? Is it uninviting? Is it complicated? So what I'm going to do now, I want a couple of people to be brave enough to say, yes, I volunteer for Donna to work with me on my offer right here, right now. Who is ready to just get in the hot seat and let me help you to do this? Let's see, what did I get? Jen, Lindsay, I love you both. Okay, Jen, I'm going to go with you first. So unmute yourself. Tell me what your current offer is and who is your target audience.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My current offer is, I don't know if this is the right answer, but it's for orthodontists, and specifically orthodontists and dentists. And my current offer is one-on-one coaching with them and one-on-one coaching with certain team members to get them the results that they're telling me on their clarity call that they want. So that's where it starts. And then of course it goes into more.
So tell me this, on that clarity call, because obviously you're having some type of a clarity call, discovery session, assessment, what have you. What are their top 3 challenges as they have identified them to you?
Leading their teams, not knowing how to lead their teams, not having smooth processes within their practice flow, which puts stress back on them. So probably, processes and delegation. And then this isn't number 3, but the thing I always come back to, or I think about that most of them say is, those come up when I say, what keeps you up at night? As it comes back to the stress of leading the practice, leading the team, and then having smooth operations and workflows.
So what you're saying is, Dr. Whomever you happen to be, that your business is stressing you out.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's take a look at how that's happening and how that's showing up. You're saying that you're having a little bit of difficulty in the leadership realm and specifically in delegation. Now, tell me this. What are the types of things you need to delegate that you feel your people are dropping the ball?
I don't need to be the one to make sure that we have all the appliances for patients. I don't need to be the one that has made sure the treatment coordinator has followed up in the sales process with all pending patients that haven't committed to treatment. I don't need to be dealing with stress within the practice and then come home at night and have to write treatment plans. I would like to be with my family.
Understood. Understood. And how long have you been experiencing that?
It's gotten worse since COVID. So now 5 years.
5 years you've been dealing with that, and what's it costing you?
It cost me my peace. It cost me time. I've got young kids, cost me time with my family, where I'd like to be present with them, and it makes my life feel out of balance.
Is it affecting your bottom line?
Well, I'm sure I'm doing okay, but I can imagine there's always ways to make everything better, more strategic.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, doctor. How are you hiring your people? Where are you finding your people?
I'll just run an ad. I've been lucky that I've retained a lot of team members, but I'll run an ad on Indeed.
Okay. So you've got people that have been with you for a while, but you don't trust them. They're letting you down.
Either they're letting me down or I'm letting them down because I don't know how to be a good leader.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at how you can be a better leader. We need to talk about the way that they have been trained. And the training process is key to building high performance teams. Can you feel that? Okay, terrific. So here's what I would suggest. Let's do some work together regarding your leadership around training, because I had another office that I worked with, and when we got deeper into the way his people were trained and reviewing the job descriptions and revising the related job descriptions, we were able to up their productivity and reduce that doctor's hands-on activity in the practice by making just a few simple tweaks. Does that sound like what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure, my team would like that as well.
Wonderful. And I bet that if we do something like that, your stress level will go down and you'll probably be a lot more fun to work with.
Yes.
Okay. Then, okay, so if we had implemented this 6 months ago, where do you think your practice would be and where do you think your life would be?
I mean, again, my numbers are great. I'm very blessed that I'm running a great, financially a great practice, but I'm telling you the sheer volume of patients that I see and then the disorganization really weighs on my heart and my stress level. And that's the part I just can't go on.
So if we were able to resolve your confidence in your team, would you be able to spend more time with your family, maybe take vacations, maybe lecture a little bit? Any of those things appeal to you?
Yeah, maybe spending a little time alone and spending more time with my family, having a better balance.
Fabulous. I'd be happy to support you in that. Is that a step that you're prepared to take?
I guess I need to know how much work is in it for me.
Well, again, what we said and what I told you about the client that I worked with, I have a specific process that will not have you doing most of the heavy lifting.
Okay.
Okay, you'll need to be present. You'll need to give them their support. But in the long run, this is going to reduce your hands-on time. And this is going to increase your work-life balance availability. Is that what you're ready to take a step on today?
I am, yes.
Okay, see the difference in that, Jen?
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. But again, what we did was we got clear on where the pain was. We got clear on what the focus was. The trigger was the stress. And with giving them that success story, they were able to see themselves in the space that they choose to be in. But we didn't give away really any of your intellectual property. We told you you got process because you told me you have process, but we didn't tell them what the process is. Did that work for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, do you have questions regarding that?
No, I think that's one thing I need to focus on more is how I will do more of the heavy lifting for them initially to get
You
all
really
of.
okay, you know what? You and I can have a conversation because you don't have to do the heavy lifting. That's a whole nother.
Okay, okay. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to do the heavy lifting. That's why you got a process. So you don't have to do that. So I don't want you to think that I just put something on your shoulders because I did not. This was all about how to fix your offer. And then the other things that we would need to fix, we'd have to have a conversation about. But I will tell you right now, no, you don't have to do the heavy lifting on this at all. You already know what to do. And we can talk about it. Anything else, Jim?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay. If we're complete, then okay, fine. I'm going to move on then to Leslie.
To me, Lindsay?
I'm sorry, Lindsay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Lindsay, yeah. Come on, baby.
Hi. I've parked, okay? So I'm not going to turn my camera on, but I've parked.
You're so cute. Okay, dear. So tell me who your audience is and what is the outcome that you deliver.
So as a financial advisor, I obviously need to be meeting one-on-one with individuals. I do offer, there's so many different ways that my planning services can help people. And I do follow this wheel that's financial security. And the first step of that is the life insurance piece. I try to secure the foundation for people, and then I move on to, thinking about the rest of their savings, retirement, and then their investments. But I think what I really want to talk to you about, Donna, is I spend a lot of my day in referral groups, meeting with other business owners. I meet with estate planning attorney, business attorneys all the time. And my ask is for those professionals to be referring their clients to me, because I see a very clear path of how if somebody's already in estate planning process, well, then they need to also be reviewing their assets. And that's my hope. But I don't get a lot of referrals from people who are professionals. And I don't know if that's because I'm asking them something or I'm not showing my value or they don't trust me yet. But in order for me to continue to grow this office, I feel like I need to have a team of other professionals out there who are constantly referring me business. So I'm not only relying on myself to get those one-to-ones with individuals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's what I'm gonna tell you. And I know you're doing some things along this line, but first I'm gonna give you one of my success stories or bedtime stories. I worked with an IP attorney, a business attorney. And what she would have me do is come in once a quarter and talk to the clients that she was having difficulty connecting with. And these were people who came in with their own set expectations, but they were not yet ready for what they were asking for. Okay, are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. One instance in particular sticks out in my mind where I was talking to a group of about 6 or 7 people, and one of them wanted to create a certain type of property in his old hometown. And he had decided what kind of recreational facility he wanted to put there, and this service he wanted to put there, and that service he wanted to put there. And my first question to him was, have you done any type of study to see whether or not they want it? And he blinked and looked at me and said, well, why wouldn't they? I said, no, see, that's your logic. That's not their logic. So when you're talking to your estate planners and your divorce attorneys, which will be huge for you because they've got to split assets, and others, I think that one of the questions would be, I would like to be your partner in helping your prospects and your current clients clearly define their end objective for their engagement with you. Frequently when they're talking to an estate planner, they're thinking in terms of, this is what I've already gotten, this is how I want it allocated. But what you want to do is have a conversation with their clients to say, okay, this is what you've got, this is how I want it allocated, but do you want more? Because I can introduce you to Lindsay, and she can help you to grow your estate while you still have time. And that estate can be things that you can use now or leave as legacy. Is that a conversation you would like to have?
So you're providing the prospective business partners a script that they can use in order to refer me.
Actually, what you're providing the prospective business partners is an additional service that they can offer to their clients.
Okay.
That's what you're offering. Okay, so it's like, I would love to be able to come into your office or to do a webinar for your clients, and we can do several different topics, one of which would be how to grow your estate. Okay. Another, if you're doing divorce, it would be how to leverage your current assets to leave more for your children, to provide more for your whatever, because you know what those things are. You're the expert, I am not. But
right.
I want you to offer to do a workshop, seminar, training to add additional value to their existing clients, not to compete with their services. And I think that what's happening is that some of them think of you as competition as opposed to an asset.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we need to reposition you. And when we talk about the outcome focus, it's like you are the value add for the people that they are currently working with. And the urgency is, this is action we need to take now so that you have more it gets greater later. And then you want to make it simple. And that means that you want to keep it on their desired outcome, not yours. You have the background and the expertise that you know what they need to do, but they don't see it yet. They may not be financially literate. They may be the first people in their home, in their family that has a home or that has investment property, and they don't see what else they could be doing, or they could be part of a legacy family, but they don't know how to leverage it.
Right.
So this is you being the value add to the prospective partner. And that's how you need to shift your offer. So it's not what you can do for their clients, it's what you can do for them. This is how I can help you add value to your clients. This is how I can help you to grow your business.
So in addition to rounding out their client experience, which I think is kind of how I could describe it, I'm improving your customer service by becoming a partner with you.
I would lead with that. I would switch that. Because
so by becoming a partner with you, I will add value to your customer service.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Anyone else want to step up real quick before I begin to go into the home stretch? Karen.
Yes.
I'm just looking at Karen. She's like, oh no. You got Karen. Okay, Carla, go ahead.
Okay, so my pro-launch e-learning, I plan to sell it to hospitals and organizations in order for them to maintain their Gen Z staff. So one of the problems they're facing is that they've experienced the Gen Zers being unreliable. They don't have trust in them. And then also, when we talk about the profit, there's a loss of profit because once I let them go, I'm going to have to spend more money to bring in someone else. So
I've had this conversation before. Let's not label them Gen Zs.
Gen Zs, young professionals.
Let's talk about challenges that result from generational differences.
Generational differences. Okay.
Yeah. Because you know what? Gen Zs don't like boomers. Boomers don't like millennials. Millennials don't like anybody. I mean, these are generational differences.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone forgets Gen X.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about generational differences. I told you I have a talk that I've done that is how to communicate across gender, generation, and geography. I want you to be more general in what you're offering, because if you're going Gen Z and the person that you are pitching this to is a Gen Z and you're telling them how they suck, they're not going to pay you.
That's true. Because I wouldn't. Yep. True.
Yeah. So we got to do generational differences. How communication conflicts affect recruiting, retention, productivity, and profit. Because those are 4 things. Now, you've got 4 things, I'm sure. We don't have to go through them right now, but I'm just saying, those are 4 things. So now you've got clarity on what their outcome focus is. The urgency trigger is I've got poor productivity and increased training costs because we're losing people on both ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
And then to simplify the buying process, you're going to offer them your assessment. We're going to be talking later today.
Okay. I like that. Offer an assessment. Okay.
But do you see how that shifts it a little bit for you?
Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. So let's just move on so I can get you all out of here in a reasonable amount of time. So remember that confused offers give you confused buyers. So you got to be clear, you got to be urgent, it's got to be time bound, and you got to stop overthinking it. Remember, it is not their logic. I'm sorry, it's not your logic, it's their logic that you have to speak into. That's the deal. So here's my question to you. What will you change today, and who will you follow up with? First of all, what are you going to change today? Are you going to niche down your audience? Are you going to reframe the outcomes? Are you going to add urgency? Are you going to go back to people who didn't convert? Or are you going to address your current leads with your new message? Or are you going to take your new message to existing clients so you can get some more referrals? Yay, we love referrals. So what are you going to do? Okay, because this is how you are able to do that 15-minute shift. These are not major changes that you have to make. This is just additional clarification. Sales is not about wait and see. Sales is about presenting the conversation. And I've said this so often. It's two individuals coming to a mutually beneficial solution. That's all it is. They stop the pain, you get the transaction. That's all it is. So here we go. As we go into the home stretch, what's your next move? If you want to have an additional call with me because you have questions, here's a QR code. Please get on my calendar. Let's talk about it. It's entirely up to you because, as I said, my mission is not about the bottom line, but I love helping the people that I connect with build their own economy. Because in the end, you depend on you. You are in business for yourself, no matter who writes the check.